Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I'm back today to do another Vinyl Finds video. So most of these I believe are online purchases, okay? And some record store purchases. So some more Santana to show. This is the album Amigos. This is mid-70s Santana. This is after the period, obviously, from the first Santana band, the first 3 albums, and then the 3 sort of jazz fusion albums. I think this is the album that followed right after that, so maybe his 7th album. Still a really good Santana album, but not essential like the first 6. I'm trying to think what the well-known song off of this is. Let me just take a look. Dance Sister Dance, I think, was a hit still off of this. And Europa was another well-known song. I think still songs that Santana continued to perform for quite a while in his live set. So Amigos. And then the album that followed Amigos, Festival. Again, another good album. The opening trio suite of tracks that are played together, Carnival, Let the Children Play, and Jugando are excellent off of this. So I got this used copy of this in Amigos for really cheap, so definitely still worthwhile. I think after this album, he made a live album, Moonflower, and then you probably would do all right by stopping there, because there was a period there where stuff got a little bland, I would say, for sure, for Santana. Okay, next we have a 2 LP comp for the Walker Brothers. Obviously, they weren't brothers. It was led by Scott Walker on vocals, the deep sort of baritone vocal. I don't know a lot about the Walker Brothers. I mean, some of the well-known songs, "Make It Easy on Yourself," I know was a big hit. "Don't Let the Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore" was another. So here, a better picture of the guys there with Scott Walker and the shades there in the middle. So I do like the Walker Brothers 60s stuff. I think they made a couple of 70s albums. Night Flights is one I think that was pretty good, and I got to know that album because Bowie did a cover of one of the songs off of that on his Black Tie White Noise album, which I think was late 80s, early 90s. And then the Scott Walker solo albums, I mean, I own them on CD. Like to get maybe a couple of them on vinyl. But yeah, this is a good comp for the Walker Brothers. Nice condition, the cover very glossy, quite nice. Then we have a release from, I think this was from 2018, the band Low, which is really led by Alan Sparehawk and Mimi Parker, husband and wife. I was heavily into Low, I guess back in the early 2000s. The Great Destroyer was an album that I really liked. Seen Low live a few times, headlining a couple of times, and once opening up for Slow Dive. That was an amazing double bill. This album, Low are sort of, I guess, fit into the slowcore genre. This album here has some slowcore elements, but also has a lot of electronic sound manipulation type of elements to it. I know some Low fans don't like that, but I think it really makes this a very creative type album where Low are really sort of stepping outside of their comfort zone. They had an album after The Great Destroyer called Drums and Guns that had some electronic elements to it that again, kind of divided fans a little bit, but this is a really innovative album that does combine some of the best qualities that Low has in that slowcore fashion, along with those electronic elements, not in sort of a dance type fashion, but more in just sort of a sound manipulation kind of fashion, and it's really a nice blend of those two styles. So I'd highly recommend this Double Negative. Then we have a couple of releases from The Cure. The first one, everybody knows this album, Disintegration. Have this on CD for years. I've owned the mixed up CD, which are mixes of many of the tracks from here. I think 4 of the singles from here. This was an opportunity for me to get the original vinyl single disc back from the late 80s. I know this has been reissued in 2LP format. I like the idea of having it all on one disc if it fits, and it does fit. I don't think the sound quality is affected in any way, so really happy to get this. I mean, obviously everybody knows the 4, most of you guys should know the 4 singles, Pictures of You, Lullaby, Love Song, and I think it's Fascination Street. But yeah, this is a fantastic, arguably The Cure's best album. And then from the same seller, I was able to pick up this Cure album, simply entitled Concert. This is The Cure back in the 80s on the tour for their 5th album, The Top. And this is, you know, obviously there's a couple songs from The Top on this, Shake Dog Shake probably being the best, and then everything else from their first 4 albums. So you got Primary, Charlotte Sometimes, The Hanging Garden, The Walk, 100 Years of Forest, and Killin' an Arab, and 10:15 Saturday Night, as you can see off of there. And The Cure on this sound, I mean, it's definitely sounds like The Cure, and you got the, you know, the very unique vocals from Robert Smith that kind of cuts through the music really nicely, but they sound a lot heavier on here, and I like that quality. It makes them sound more like a rock band, but still The Cure, if that makes any sense. You know, people have commented about the sound quality of this not being great, but I think, you know, it sounds, you know, of its time. And I really like it. I mean, they sound quite muscular on this, and then you got Robert Smith's vocal in behind that sort of muscular sound. I really love this. And then together with those, I got an album by this band, Soup Dragons, Hot Wired. The Soup Dragons are from Scotland. They were part of that sort of baggy scene. The album prior to this, Love God, had the big hit, a cover of the Stones' I'm Free. This album was also quite popular at the time. I was huge into this band at this time. This has the hit single Divine Thing. This album was a little bit different than Love God. Love God had, you know, they're both sort of baggy, very dance, indie rock kind of feel. Love God a little bit, some more psychedelic elements, whereas this album is more sort of a constant guitar riffing kind of sound in behind those baggy beats. So yeah, really pleased to get this, an album that I played tons back in the day. Just a few more. We have the Mars Volta. The Mars Volta, for those of you who don't know, are really centered around 2 main members, vocalist Cedric Bixler-Zavala and guitar and main writer Omar Rodriguez-Lopez. These guys, as the history goes, were in the band, sort of hardcore band, at the Drive-In. Then at the Drive-In broke up and they formed the Mars Volta. This is the Mars Volta went on hiatus for a while, and I'm hearing rumors that they will be coming back. This is the Mars Volta. I believe it's their 5th album, Octahedron, I think is how you say the name. probably the least popular of their albums, but very difficult to get on vinyl, any of their albums, and this was the most easily the most accessible album that you could get on vinyl, and also from a sound perspective, arguably the most accessible sound-wise for the Mars Volta, who are a little bit sort of proggy kind of feel. Those two guys, Omar and Cedric, have been in a few bands together at the Drive-In Mars Volta. They formed a band called Anti-Mask for a short period of time. Omar Rodriguez Lopez is very prolific, does a lot of solo albums, many of them available just digitally. But you know, the Mars Volta is my favorite of the bands that those guys are involved in, and this is the first album, very glossy, first album that I've been able to get from the Mars Volta. I'd love to get more. Their first two albums are easily their most popular, most successful albums, Deloused in the Chromatorium and Francis the Mute. So yeah, I mean, even though this is their least popular album, I still love this album. So fantastic finally to get it on vinyl. Then a classic that was long overdue for me to get on vinyl, Screamadelica by Primal Scream. I mean, this is an amazing album. Again, going back to that Manchester baggy scene, even though these guys, most of them were from Scotland. Bobby Gillespie, obviously former drummer of Jesus and Mary Chain. This is easily, I think, Primal Scream's best album and most popular album. Moving on Up, Come Together, Loaded being some of the big songs, but every single song on this is amazing. This is a must-have. I don't know why it took me so long to get it on vinyl. I actually had their album after this, Give Up But Don't Give Up, on vinyl for a couple years now. I guess I was just waiting to see if the price of this dropped down a little bit. Finally saw a used copy for $24 Canadian, which was a great price for this, and it's in fantastic condition. Great pressing as well. Definitely does justice to this classic. And last, we have the Ramones and their double live album, It's Alive. What can I say about this? This is a music on vinyl press. This was done, I believe, for the tour for the Rocket to Russia album. 28 tracks, packed into 2 LPs. But, you know, most of these tracks are a minute, 2 minutes something in length. So you can fit all these tracks on there, seven aside. Just fantastic. Fantastic sounding pressing. Great songs. The Ramones, what can you say about the Ramones? I mean, up there with The Clash as far as best punk bands. I'm not really a punk expert or anything like that, but I do love The Clash and I do love the Ramones, and really, really happy to pick this up. Show you the... Actually, no, it's got the sticky... Wait, let me just open this up here. I don't like these sleeves with the sticky thing on the back. There's the gatefold. Very glossy, beautiful artwork. Low resolution picture, but nice thick spine, really nice packaging on this Ramones. We're very pleased to get a copy of this. I would highly recommend it. Great sounding press. Okay guys, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.